What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. Another one. I don't know. I don't know how else to say other than another one. I feel like DJ Khaled. Another game where Miami had a chance to win late, didn't make it happen. This is a very topsy turvy game because at the halftime mark, and I was prepping this video, I was like, "Yo, that's the best half Miami's played all year," and they only have 13 points. Because I saw awesome defense. I saw more or less efficient offense. We had a turnover, but that was on Jalen Waddle. I don't attribute that to Tua. But they stopped what normally is a good offense. Admittedly, they had backups on the line. Quentin Johnson didn't play, which we did not know before the game. Who's like their number one receiver. So they were playing with backups. But Justin Herbert is, by most accounts, at least a top 10 quarterback. Some people have a top 5. It seemed like the first half, the formula is good. And then the second half, I don't know what happened, specifically in the third quarter. Probably the worst quarter I've seen a team play, maybe since week 1, in terms of just complete ineptitude. Awful on defense. The offense had negative yards, which was hard to watch. I'm like, do they have negative 7 yards right now? Just continuous bad play after bad play. But the real opportunities came on the last drive. We finally got the lead. Tua led what has to be the best drive he's had all season, given the time and place. Accurate with the ball, composed, under control. We score a touchdown. We give them the ball back. They get the ball near the 40 because of a long return. Again, special teams, whatever. Then we have a chance for a sack on first down. Zach Sealer got him. Can't get him down. Okay. Hey, you forced the incomplete pass. We're fine. Then they run a play. Fine. We get to third down, and we're like, all right, cool. This is where we can really make some money. And Jalen Phillips has a bead on him. This is a sack 9 out of 10 times. Somehow, Jalen Phillips not only doesn't get the sack, doesn't force an incompletion, doesn't even really make a move. He just kind of shrugged him off. Then he completed the pass to Ladd McConkey on the sideline. Dante Trader, who had a rough game today. No thumbs up. He had a rough game today. Has Ladd McConkey in the flat before the 50-yard line. You make this tackle. It's fourth down. You force them to burn their timeout. And then we'll see what happens. They're still like 12 to 15 yards from field goal range. But we force a decision. 4th and 4, game in the balance. And Dante Trader misses this tackle so bad that Ladd doesn't even really break stride and takes off 30 more yards, and the rest is history. There were so many chances to win this game. The defense held the Chargers to 5 field goals. If I told you before the game you're going to hold a team to 5 field goals, you would say that's a lot of field goals, but that means they weren't scoring touchdowns. That sounds like a win. What we did, though, was find a way to play the best first half and then juxtapose it with the worst third quarter and then one of the least well-executed last defensive possessions. It just was so many times of you have it right here, just make the play. And that's how the defense has been all year. There have been guys in position to make plays and then just didn't make plays. You'll have a guy dead to rights for a tackle, and then you miss a tackle and he gets 8 yards. And you're like, if you just made the tackle, it's 2nd and 9. But instead it's 2nd and 1 because you didn't do your job. It just kept happening again and again. It was just, I don't know. It was frustrating to watch Tua. We're going to get to him in a second. Turnovers, we'll get to that in a second. It just was another game that Miami can look back on the film and say, we could have won this game. Could have beat the Patriots. The Bills game, we could have tied them late. They would have got the ball back at the end. Who knows? For sure could have won this game. Miami, there's no reason Miami couldn't be 3-3 right now. No reason. No reason. 3-3, you're right in the hunt. You feel like you have a, chance to make the playoffs, but depending on how things break, we've played a lot of our tough games already. I don't know. It was tough. I would say the team didn't quit. I didn't see quit in the team today, so we'll do that. And I think more or less the team was ready for the moment, but just so many chances to win, so many chances to capitalize, and just didn't do a good job. Someone who did do a good job, though, was Devon Achane, who played probably his most complete game of the year. Devon finally got more than 12 carries, which we talked about during the week of, why don't we run Devon Achane more? And I know there's a lot of 1 and 2 yard carries. And I watched this game really closely, and I realized there's not a lot of 1 and 2 yard carries because there's not blocking. Devon doesn't always see cutbacks. He is a very, if the hole is right in front of me guy, I can hit it quick. Or if there's an edge I can get that quick. He is not a press the hole, cut back runner. But there's actually a lot of lanes to cut back into. And I'm like, oh, if he just took one more step to the right, he could have been out of there. He doesn't always see those cutbacks. I'm not sure if that's by design or if that's just how he plays a position where he's like, some running backs are like a one-cut runner. Like Terrell Davis is one of these guys back in the day for the Broncos. Well, put the foot in the ground, go. He wasn't a stutter your feet, find a hole, but he's boom, upfield. He was that kind of guy. Devon is really fast, but he seems to be actually a more north and south runner, which is interesting. Because you would think, given his like agility and speed, he would be more like a Bijan or a Brees. But if you watch like Atlanta plays tonight, when you watch this, watch how Brees runs the ball. A lot of times he'll press the hole, kind of hop around a little bit, find the lane, and then like explode through it. And watch how often Devon doesn't run like that. He very much is, oh, it's open. And if it's not open, I just run into the back of people and get tackled. This is not meant to be a critical session. It's just like a film study thing of, I don't know if he's always seeing where he should be cutting back into. Regardless, he had a great game. Finally got 16 carries, over 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, decent in a receiving game. This is the game that we expect from Devon. This is him being used all over the field. That little running back wide receiver screen thing they rerun it so often that teams are now just kind of keying in on it. I would love if at some point we run a play off of that where we fake the screen to him and then throw like some kind of route down the field. Because now guys are just screaming down and they're coming down so fast that our wide receivers can't get to the block. So our wide receivers are basically standing still because you can't like progress, right? So they're standing still, waiting for him to catch the ball to go start blocking downfield. And those guys are just zipping past him. And if he can get through that first wave, yeah, there's yards behind it. But a lot of times it's getting kind of blown up a little bit, and it's something that we're going to figure out down the line. But the way we use Devon today, clearly he's the team MVP. I don't even need to talk about anything other than that. A long, explosive run. I was like, yes, number of 1 and 2 yard runs too, fine. That's the game. Because you get the 50-yard touchdown run because of the 3-yard carries. Like, they all build on each other. So, shout out to Devon. You're the player of the game. We're happy to see you look like yourself. Because last week, 10 carries, 16 yards. What? Who was that guy last week? That guy was Darren H.N. Like, I don't recognize that guy at all. This week, you got back to your thing, and I wanted to give you some praise before we started getting a little bit more critical. I've been in a weird pocket with Tua since he got drafted. Because I was such a fan at Alabama, and I thought with the right tutelage, he could be a really good player in the league. And I thought the previous administration with Flores wasn't conducive to him being good. It's kind of like what you see with the Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold thing, where you can be a good player, but if you're in the wrong place, it looks like you're a bad player. We saw Baker in Carolina look like he could not be in the league. And now Baker's odds-on favorite to win MVP. Now, again, we're 5 weeks to the year. We'll see. But if they gave out MVP today, it's a good chance Baker will win it. But that was like 4 years ago, he was with Carolina. And all of a sudden, he's this guy now. It can happen that quickly. Once Tua got Coach McDaniel, it seemed like that's the person to unlock his game. What I'm seeing now from Tua, I just don't believe, like, here. My fandom can tell me, oh, yeah, we can still win with Tua. Like, he still does a lot of good things. My core, my football watching my whole life person tells me we can't win with Tua. And that is such a hard thing to watch week in and week out because when I'm watching football, I watch the Dolphins game, of course, but I'm watching other teams play too. And I'm watching teams that have younger quarterbacks. Like, if I'm Carolina, I like Bryce Young. Like, they might fire the coach, might get some new alignment. I think you can win with Bryce. If you're the Patriots, they think, listen, Drake May is looking like he's playing at a Pro Bowl level right now. He looks great. And he's only in his second year. So it's like, well, how much better he's going to get once the line gets better? Because the line is still a little, and then we get better talent. How good can he be? And you start getting to, obviously, the teams with the top-end guys, the, Patricks and the Joshes and Lamar. Those guys are in their own tier. But if you're like a middle-tier team, like Atlanta still likes Penix at the moment. Minnesota will know what's going on with those quarterbacks. I know what's going on with McCarthy, but I think they like McCarthy. I had this question during the game. If we were trying to trade Tua to a team, meaning we give them Tua, they give us their quarterback, who would take the trade right now? That's where I was like left when I was going through the teams. I'm like, all right, Tennessee, of course not, because they love Cam and the team's not good, but whatever. Cleveland, maybe, because Dylan Gabriel's young and Shador hasn't played and they already traded Flacco. So maybe Cleveland. I think Cleveland makes the most sense. I think Tua plays the way Stefanski would like. But Dylan Gabriel's a younger, cheaper version of Tua, so why would I trade him? But just like for one season, yeah, I can see that happening. But I was going through the rest of the league and I'm like, maybe Geno with the Raiders? But I still don't think they would do that because Geno has a much bigger arm and is more mobile. It's like, is there anyone else in the league who would trade for Tua? Like the way Spencer Rattler's played this year, I trash the Saints incessantly, but we have the same record as the Saints do. And their offense looks good. They're just not a good team. I don't think the Saints are a better team than Miami, but they look more competitive week in and week out. And Spencer Rattler looks like he could be a high-end backup, low-end starter. Would they trade Spencer Rattler for Tua? I don't know. They throw a lot of deep balls. And I don't know if Tua can make the throws. It was a situation where I was like, do we have the worst starting quarterback situation in the league? That's what struck me. And I had to really sit with it. I was like, well, there are teams that I think are objectively worse than Miami, even though the records don't really show it. But starting quarterback situation, meaning we have a young guy that's maybe not playing well, but we think has future, or we put a bunch of money into a guy who's not good, right? Those are like the two pathways, and then somewhere in the middle. Miami's in a situation where we put a bunch of money into a guy who we don't necessarily know is the future, which I think is the worst place to be. I'd rather bet on a young guy or know I have an old established guy. But if you're middle-aged and I still don't know, I don't know where we go from there. Like, I don't know what we do with that. And there was a play in the game, I want to say it's the third quarter. It was a third down play. And the snap wasn't great. And the ball basically hit the ground. Tua grabbed the ball, and he was so like I get rid of the ball. He threw the ball to the flat to Malik Washington, who was exceptionally well covered. The ball could have easily been a pick six. But he just was like, I got to get out. And he already just decided Malik should be open, so I'm just going to throw that way. But the idea of let me look up, okay, he's not open, go to my other reads, the fear of the offensive line being ran through, the fear of I might get hit, the fear of I might have to make a throw down the field where I don't have like my legs and body up under me to make the throw, I think all happens like at the speed of sound for Tua sometimes. So it's like, oh, a lot of times he just throws the ball away where it's like, well, if he just like could hold the ball for a couple more, like a second or two, maybe someone in the secondary can uncover, he can make a pass, but it's rollout, not open, dump it. Not even trying it. Whereas sometimes quarterbacks can hold the ball, back up a little bit, kind of pirouette a little bit, and then while they're doing all that, someone uncovers. Two is like, I'm not doing any of that. One, physically probably can't do it, and two, don't want to risk getting hit, which I totally understand for his own life, for his own body, for his own brain. No one's faulting him for being who he is. But it's a situation of everything looks hard in the offense. Unless it's perfectly schemed up, it looks hard, man. We have too much talent for it to look this difficult. There's throws where I'm like, he airmailed 3 or 4 throws today where guys were open, but I could tell he was trying to generate more power on the throw. I could see it. The pocket was clear. He saw him down the field. All right, that's a 20-yard throw. There's a safety coming down. I got to fit the ball in there. But the receiver's open. And I could see he was like, let me load up a little bit and get a little bit more juice on it. And when you do that, sometimes you overthrow the ball. And he overthrew the ball, and it's like Waddle, he didn't want to Waller, where it's like, dog, what happened? And it's like, that's on me. Because I'm nervous that if I throw the ball like kind of flat-footed, it may not have enough juice on it, and it might break in front of it and pick it off or knock it down. And I don't have just the giant arms to just make the throw like on a run. I got to kind of load and throw it in there. And it just was like, it's going to be this difficult going forward. I don't think we're bringing Tyreek back. So there won't be this cheat code on offense where one guy can take up X amount of the field and just like change the way you play coverage. It's going to be, this is what the offense is going to be, if not somewhat worse going forward. Right? Because our number one receiver is going to be Waddle. I guess the number 2 would be Nick and or Malik. One of those guys. And Malik, let's be honest, has not shown up in a receiving game like we want him to. I don't think it's necessarily him not doing his job well. It's not working. Last year it worked well. This year not so much. Nick Westbrook has really not been a part of the offense at all. Waller seems to be open a lot, but you got to get him the ball. And he's still kind of on the play count, so he doesn't play as much as he should. But he's there, and when he's there, he looks like he's open. He scored again today. He scores every week. But it's just, the O-line is not good. Jonah has been a disaster. He was bad again today. No improvement whatsoever. Just bad. So again, I want to give Tua some bail because I don't think it's all on him. The offensive line has been bad. Jonah has been the worst left guard in the league so far and has just doubled down on being bad. Getting beat immediately off the line and Tua being flushed and getting hit. It's been bad. But Tua's not been good. Tua has 7 picks this year. He has 7 all last year and double the games. You could take away the Waddle pick. Okay, fine, he has 6. That's a pick a game. And he has some fumbles mixed in there for good measure. And I mentioned this a few weeks ago. You can't be a quarterback that's limited who also turns the ball over. You can be limited and control the ball, a la Alex Smith type quarterback. Or you could be exceptional. That comes with turnovers. This is a Joe Burrow, like Josh Allen type guys where, yeah, I'm going to throw 4 touchdowns. You might get 2 or 3 picks out of me too, but I'm going to do enough to override my mistakes. Tua is low, like high-end production with high turnovers. And you can't do both of those things. Like, he's got to shore up the turnovers. I'm okay with an offense being pedestrian if we don't make mistakes. I'm not okay with having a pedestrian offense that also makes mistakes. And he makes a lot of mistakes with the ball. And it's just, how many games are we going to just sit back and be like, okay, well, it's happening too often. Again, he's not going to get traded anytime soon. Tua's not really trade bait like that. It's just, this game was sobering to me because I'm watching Herbert play with backup offensive lineman, number 1 receiver out, 3rd string running back, and I'm not worried about him producing. I'm like, he's going to be fine. And again, these guys win the same draft back-to-back picks. Tua's got, we got offensive line issues, but our talent-wise are there. Running backs are there, receivers are there, and it's like, it just looks hard. It just looks hard. It's going to be, there's no offseason conversation. We owe Tua too much money for next year. There's no conversation. The conversation is, are we going to bench Tua at some point? But you won't be traded. No one wants to trade for him. So this is what it is. I had to just throw this in here because watching the game was frustrating. Again, the Chargers played with their 3rd and 4th string running backs today because their top 2 guys are on IR out for the year. And we've seen what happened all season. Not last week. All season. The Dolphins have the worst run defense in the league. Okay? Worst. I thought the Rico Dowdle thing was an outlier, but he ran for 200 yards against the Cowboys today. So, shout out to Rico Dowdle. Maybe I was a little bit harsh on you. Maybe you are Himothy, and you just had your coming out party against us in Dallas. I think Chuba may have lost his job, which is crazy. So, shout out to Rico Dowdle. I was doubting you. I thought you were, second tier back. Evidently, pretty good. But Kamani Vidal, the 3rd string running back for the Chargers, for his entire career, had like 170 yards rushing, had 120 today against Miami. So what am I supposed to do with this? Where every week teams have all-time passer rating games and all-time rushing games. That's what's happening week by week by week. And you heard Coach Weaver, we give up 1 or 2 long runs a game, but we're pretty stout. It's like, hey, it's 1 or 2 long runs every game, though. Every game we do this, guys are he averaged 6.9 yards per carry. I'm like, hey, what are we doing? They had backup tackles in. They had a guard that got hurt in the game. They had the number 1 receiver out of the game. He's a 3rd string running back and just eating up yards, constantly getting to the second level. I'm like, what is this? We had a linebacker out, fine. KJ Britt came in and played very well today. So linebackers were solid. The whole D-line's intact. And guys just continuously get all-time running games against us. And you see Weaver on the sideline like, let's go, y'all, let's lock in. I'm just like, hey, we're 6 weeks in. The lock-in is not happening. We have not stopped anybody running the ball. I don't know what they're doing up front. I don't know if guys are not playing in their gaps properly. I don't know if linebackers aren't reading the guard properly or just aren't reading the play. Or maybe they're just missing tackles. Like, they're here. I see the back. I'm going to wrap them up, and then I don't get them down. Do we have to go back to tackling during the week? I know we have an injured team, but what is this? Like, we only gave up 140 yards today. Only. But we give up 157 per game. So, yeah, we beat our season average, but that's still a lot of rushing yards to a team that doesn't run the ball well with their 3rd string back in the battle line. I just like, what are we doing here? They had more rushing yards than we did. Like, I don't know, man. Like, and the defense, I think overall had a number of good spells. They did a lot of good things today. I thought they were really good in the red zone for the most part. The secondary, there's a lot of guys running open, but by and large, they were okay. It's just that it can't be every week that teams can just run the ball at will. No matter who the back is, we just run it. Don't matter who it is, they just run. Go ahead, you got it. Like, it's something's got to give, but you can't stack the box more because we can't cover on the back end. So now you get into that conversation again. It's just frustrating to watch teams continuously run the ball and quarterbacks continue to have amazing games against us. Like, we haven't really stopped anybody all year. Not really. It's I mean, the Jets, I guess, but the Jets are bad. The Jets might be the worst team. The Jets might trade for Tua. That might, I take back my original critique. Maybe the Jets. They might have the worst starting quarterback situation, but they're obviously going to drop the quarterback next year anyway. They only signed Justin Fields to a 2-year deal. So they're obviously not thinking Justin was the answer forever because he got a 2-year, like $40 million contract. He's getting $20 million a year, which is like a third of the top end quarterbacks. So yeah, that feels about fair to me. I don't know. Just Weaver. I'm saying this because I'm concerned Anthony Weaver will not make it the next couple weeks because you can't keep being this bad at that particular thing while not getting tackled for losses, while not getting sacks, and then you just keep your job. I don't know how that works, but I've already said too much. I'm ranting. I'm upset. But as always, y'all, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for the likes and the subscribe. So we'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily.